Hello, my friends. Raina here. This is going to be a little block basics mini workshop. I don't know exactly how long, but we're going to try and hit some of the block basics. I'm going to show you some ways you can use your blocks during your practice to support yourself, to build more heat, to soften, all the good stuff. I apologize if the lighting is a little bit funky. It is over 100 degrees in Idaho, and I'm sorry, I just cannot bear my big filming lights on me right now. I'm sorry. I love you all. I hope this is okay. I think it's okay. Anyway, let's get started. So before we move, I just want to talk a little bit about different types of blocks. Oh, actually, stay right there. I have so many blocks. Okay, so blocks. This is a foam block. It's really soft. Like I can press my thumbs, my fingers into it, really squish it. This is a cheap block. That doesn't mean it's a bad block. It just, this is like, if you see like less expensive blocks on things like Amazon, this is what you might get. So it's very soft, doesn't, really do too much. This is fine for most practices. Not all foam blocks are like this. So there are more dense for foam blocks. So you might see something called like a high density foam block, and they're a little bit more expensive. And those would be a little bit closer to a cork block. And so these are kind of the ends, not like full ends, but like these are like the ends of the spectrum. You have like a super soft foam block here, and then we have this pretty solid, like wouldn't want to hit myself, fairly heavy cork block. And then I also have these bamboo blocks. So we have all these different blocks, and while the block itself as a prop is used for similar things, I have different kinds of blocks because I like to tailor my practice to fit me. And that's what I want for you all, is to learn how to tailor your practice to fit you. The postures are made to fit you. You are not made to fit the postures. So we don't change ourselves to fit a certain shape. We change the shape to fit us. And that's where props come in handy. So we have our foam blocks, we have our cork blocks, then we have these super dense bamboo blocks. Typically, you will see me use cork blocks because, again, I like a middle ground. But if I am using soft foam blocks, it's either a secondary support or if I'm doing something a bit softer. And if I'm using these bamboo blocks, it is for restorative pretty much exclusively. And you don't see me use these often because I would use these with private students, clients, things like that, or for myself. But they are really good to have because they're very stable. But they slip. They're very smooth, and so they slip. I guess they stick to the mat okay. But I wouldn't use these for practice because my hands slip on them. And these are just a little too soft to support my hands during a practice, which is the main way I'm using them. So just to show you what you can do. Now, if you haven't seen, the Vinyasa step or the step up workshop, then I do recommend seeing that because that is like the best way to use blocks, is to give yourself more space. But yeah, so for our blocks, you could be using foam, cork, whatever you want for this, as long as they're nice and firm on the mat. You can grip them. Your hands aren't slipping off of them too much. Get a nice grip. And so a lot of people try to flat palm the blocks when they are putting their hands on them. And that works for something like a tabletop, where you can lift your upper body a little bit just to kind of change the shape of your cat-cow here, to maybe soften the weight you're putting on a certain part of your body, or just to explore what it feels like to have a slight kind of angle in the back. So it's a subtle change of shape, but it can feel really good and really significant. But generally speaking, when we have blocks under our hands here, we're using them for height. So in a downward facing dog, we may have blocks under our hands to lengthen our arms. Because if we have pretty short arms, our downward facing dog might be really short and really compressed. Like this isn't doing a whole lot for me. But if I have a little bit more length, I can have more spaciousness in the shape. And so the beauty of these blocks is they allow me to access the shape in a way where I'm honoring the sensations and kind of the intention of the shape while making it fit my body. And so we have some length here. And then what I always use them for, and you've heard me say it, is for space. So specifically with our step ups, to create a little more space for our body. Because without it, I'm really compressed here. And my belly's in the way and I can't get my foot up enough. But just giving myself a little bit more height allows me to get my foot up a little bit more. And then I can even use a little bit more height. And then my foot really gets up there. So blocks can be used to lengthen your body. They are generally used though, in my practice, in the way I teach, to, and you've heard me say this, bring the ground closer to you. The ground is such good support. It's such good support for ourselves. It helps keep our structural integrity present. And when we lose the support of the ground in so many poses, when we lose that support, our structural integrity is compromised, and therefore our alignment is compromised, and sometimes our safety is compromised, or the efficacy of our posture. So what do I mean when I say like we lose the ground? Well, I mean, if we're in downward facing dog and we're stepping up and we bring our foot up, and then in order to get our foot to where it needs to be or where we want it to be, we do this. We lift a hand, we press onto our fingertips, boom, we step the foot up. But now it's really hard. I mean, like I've been practicing for a while, but even now it's hard for me to stand up. I lose the structural integrity of my posture. Whereas if I can maintain contact with the ground, I have such beautiful structural integrity. Sorry, this block slips a little bit, and so that's why I don't use the foam blocks that much. So I have such good structural integrity here that when I step up, I'm still pressing. You can see my upper back working. I'm pressing into the blocks. I'm able to use the support of the ground to lift myself up with confidence and with stability. And so that's a huge, huge way to use your blocks. Anytime the ground feels far away, anytime a teacher says, whatever, hands to the ground, touch the ground, whatever it is, you can always, and I don't give a damn if the teacher says it or not, you can always use a block there. So if you saw the wide leg forward fold workshop, we're in our wide leg fold, yeah, traditionally, or if you have the space in your body to bring your hands to the ground and keep your legs straight and keep your back straight and engage your core and all this stuff, okay, cool. But what if you can't? Do you round your back? Do you compromise the structural integrity? No, you bring the ground closer. You give your hands some support. You allow yourself to really live and be present in the benefits of the posture by maintaining alignment here. And now sometimes, like I will say, alignment be damned. But I do think we can benefit a lot, especially if you are in a bigger body, by understanding what the posture can really feel like when properly aligned, and all the things that you can do and are capable of when the postures are properly aligned, because they just continue to open doors. They open doors to other postures. They open doors up here as far as our capabilities, and in here as far as just like the things we can do with our bodies, with our minds, with our breath. Right, so tangent, bringing the ground closer to you. So forward folds, down dog, those seem kind of like obvious spaces where you can bring the ground closer to you. But where else? If you've seen the movie Inception, where it's like Leonardo DiCaprio and Elliot Page, and they're like in the dream world and the world just like moves. It's like this malleable thing. That is how I think of my world with blocks, or like Legos. I can make the ground any shape I want to support myself. So, simple example, sitting on your shins, sitting on your knees, it's challenging. This takes a lot, especially if you have a big booty, big thighs. You're like putting more weight on, but then you're up here, you know, like you don't have the same angle necessarily. So what you can do is bring that ground closer. Take your feet a little bit wider. Block comes somewhere between like your heels and your knees, just depending on where your butt is. And then you sit back onto it. Check in with the outsides of your knees. How does that feel? How does this feel in my joints? Which is really what we want to protect. We want to protect our joints here. No, you know what? Today, I haven't really warmed up. This feels crappy, not enough. Take another block. Sit the booty back. Yes, 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 yes. I could sit like this for a while. Like, there is so little impact on my knees right now. My feet aren't falling asleep. I feel really supported. I feel structurally sound. Can sit up a little bit taller, lift my heart, hands on my thighs. Yeah, super comfortable. I think part of the hesitation of wanting to use blocks is it can disrupt the fluidity of a class or a flow. But once you begin to really practice with them and integrate them, it becomes part of your flow. Is it gonna look like that person's or that person's? No. But are you going to be like honoring the shit out of yourself and really like embodying the yoga practice with that self-knowledge, that inquiry, that understanding of who you are and what you need and what you want? Hell yes. So that's what we're trying to get to here. So bringing the ground closer here. Where else can we make the ground fit us? Well, think about back bending. There are so many benefits to lifting the heart, to opening the shoulders, pressing the hips towards the sky, opening the front of the body, but it takes a lot of work to get there. It takes a lot of practice and kind of repetition of the body. And so ways we can support ourselves in exploring these shapes is by propping ourselves up. So if you've done any of my more gentle or restorative classes, then you've definitely done things like this, but maybe with a bolster. You don't need a bolster. You can do most restorative stuff with some blocks. Obviously, like I have a lot of blocks and you don't need to have this many, but like I got these off Facebook Marketplace. I think I got 18 for $25 and they're super soft and squishy. And like I said, I love them for restorative stuff. So my favorite, absolute favorite opener is something that you all have definitely done, but block goes like along the back and under the head. So the ground has now gone from flat to lifted and then down. And that's how my body will be supported. So when I lie over this, I have all the support. And it's like, cool. Right now, that almost doesn't feel like enough. So what I'm gonna do is make it wider. I want my shoulders to be supported as well. So I'm gonna keep my soft block in the middle. And now I have a 3-block base here. And you can do this with like anything block shaped. And so this is gonna span the top of my back. This will stay under my head. And I'm gonna lie back. readjusting as I go. And oh my God, this feels so good. Taking a moment here just to settle in and see like where I am. And you know what? I can do more. I can do more to support myself here. How can I bring the ground closer? Pause. What can you do? I'm going to do two things. I'm gonna support my knees with these blocks. And you could also use blankets, but again, we're focusing on blocks right now. So I'm gonna support my knees with the blocks, bring the ground up here, and that way, the pressure off my knees gone, and my neck isn't feeling as supported as it could. And so I'm just gonna flip my block on a higher level. Boom, boom, boom. Scoot down a little bit. Oh my God, y'all. Like if I wasn't teaching this right now, I would just stay here for 5 to 10 minutes. This feels so good. It's expansive, it's supported, my shoulders are supported. And so when you just have that one block, sometimes it's fine for a little bit, but sometimes it just gets a little heavy on the shoulders. And this is just gorgeous. So here we are, chilling like this beautiful restorative pose. One example of how you can really manipulate the ground, in quotes, to suit your body. So coming up, whoop. And so these are all softenings, essentially, like ways that we can really support ourselves. But I think what goes unrecognized, and part of the reason that yoga props are so stigmatized, is because people see them as a way to soften the practice, as a crutch. That's A, absolute crap. B, just not true. So I've showed you some ways that we've actually kind of explored in a lot of classes. And now I'm gonna show you a couple fun ways you can integrate props to like kick your own ass a little bit. So first off, I love using blocks in my lunges. And I love using blocks in lunges because you really have this physical barrier to help you stay engaged, as if you had a teacher right there, like a person giving you physical adjustments. You can do things like that with your props. So first, starting with a low lunge. Okay, so we're in our low lunge, Anjaneyasana. And for me, I have pretty like floppy, I'm a floppy person. And I need support because I can just like overstretch. And so if you're someone with hypermobility, this is a great thing for you to explore. Or if you're someone with like pretty limited mobility, this is also a great way to push your boundaries. So what I'm gonna first do, that was my knee cracking, is I'm gonna take one block and I'm going to wedge it under my front or my extended leg. And so you can also use more than one block. You can kind of prop them up. Some people like to stack them like this. I just feel like they move a little bit more. So I just like to wedge the block, but like basically you're just finding a way to give this leg some support. And then you still engage, hug everything in, lift the belly away from the thighs, reach the arms overhead, take a block between your hands, squeeze the block, lift the heart. Whew, brother. This is challenging. And then if you wanted to, you could also take a couple blocks. And this is if you're pretty spacious in your hips and hamstrings, but you can support this part of your leg as well. And lift here, and then still squeeze. And it just helps give you the boundary while also giving you something to pull away from, reminding you to engage the hamstring as if you're trying to lift it off the block. Cool, so taking that up into your crescent lunge. So with your crescent lunge, and this is gonna vary, like the amount of blocks you need is all gonna vary from person to person. But what you can do, start with, I like to start a little higher just to like see what I need. So like stacking blocks, what would be under your extended leg. So for this will be my left leg. And then you come into your crescent lunge. And then what you're going to do is start to bend to a hover and try to press the top of your quad, like just above your knee, into your block. Okay, so it's pressing, and now I'm gonna try to keep that contact and straighten my leg. Whew. And you can just do a few pulses here, and it's really challenging. It really builds the heat, and it helps you understand your boundaries, understand your capabilities, and really keep your hips low while keeping the engagement in the quad and in the leg. Beautiful. So a couple more ways. We're gonna look at rotations. So often you'll see people put a block between their legs. And now, if you have thick thighs like me, it often doesn't take much to like hold the block between your legs. Like, I'm not really doing a whole lot here, but I could be. I'm just not. So wedging a block between your legs, and you're welcome to try this, it keeps your feet pretty hips distance. So really squeeze the block. So, and I want you, when you squeeze it, I want you to try squeezing it in, and then try pushing it back, and then try pushing it forward, and just feeling the different rotations of the hips. And so coming back to neutral, if you are squeezing the block with me, you don't have to be. We squeeze our block here, and then we can explore different postures. So we can explore our mountain pose, seeing what this feels like. Keeping this really steady rotation, we can then sit the hips back. For chair pose, seeing what this feels like. Building heat here. We could put a block between the hands once again. We can even take this down into, I'm gonna take some blocks under my hands, into a forward fold. See what this feels like. How do you have to readjust to keep the block between the legs? Because the block really does keep you in good alignment. So like becoming aware of how you're readjusting, you can even press the hands, step, 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 step back, plank pose, block between the legs. Downward facing dog, block between your legs. You can move into up dog, keeping your pelvis in a line, keeping your legs active and engaged, just seeing what all this feels like. Cat cow. It is all possible because it helps stabilize your pelvis. And if you can find pelvic stability in postures, you are going to be very well supported. So if you're someone who struggles with balance, feels like their hips are really kind of like unsupported, try flowing with a block. Try doing a couple sun salutations with a block. Go back to one of my earlier classes or go to one of my shorter YouTube classes and try just doing it with the block between your thighs. See what happens. If you don't like it, just put it down. Finally, I'm gonna show you a couple core things you can do with the block. So, core work. Starting with block between the thighs. This is a great place to start. You can do pretty much any core exercise with the block between the legs, and it suddenly becomes way harder. So anything from like a boat pose to just a simple kind of crunch or like reverse crunch. But what also is really nice is you can do really slow twists with the block between your legs. And you could drop it into a full supine twist, or you can keep it really active and engaged. Whew. Beautiful. So starting there, something else you can do, and these are just ideas, like these are expansions. These are just ways to kind of expand your mindset around the blocks. These are, this is not like a full flow or set or anything like that. But something that I really like is block on the top of the thigh, crunch the knee in, and then you can do core work here. You can do rotation work. Do a few sets on each side. And keep things really pushed in. Sweet. And then you can also bring the block overhead, do things here, and just use the block as a way to keep the full body engaged. So that's all I have for you as far as some block basics go. If there are certain areas of this little workshop that you're interested in learning more about, let me know, because I'm happy to do a flow. Hi, Snoop. I'm happy to do a flow, a block flow, but I just want to make sure that I'm serving you all. So if you'd like to do something more restorative, something really heat building, just let me know what you'd like, and I'm happy to create something. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time.